I've been receiving some recent numbers today, so I have some interesting numbers to deliver. For example, that in the first quarter of this year, the global copper mine production fell 2.8%.
Seen what was really interesting on the zinc side is that Chinese zinc smelters were actually quite aggressive running into the Chinese New Year. They had fairly low working capital, working inventories of concentrates. And the reason, well, probably there's a number of reasons potentially, but one of them could have been because there was a very strong expectation of very, very substantial supply growth in 2020 on the zinc side.
We expect a very strong recession in 2020. These are the results of our base assumptions, and we forecast for the Eurozone a decrease in GDP of 7.5%, in the United States of 4.5%, and in China we expect a growth of 1.4%. In Germany we see minus 6.3%.
Interestingly, now we see that the copper market, the biggest copper market, China, is getting back to normal, but the mining countries like Chile, Peru, they are struggling. They are struggling to produce ton because now the COVID has traveled all the way to those countries.
Our zinc volumes over the last 8 weeks have probably decreased by about 55% or so. So it was quite the hit. Thankfully, we kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we scaled back on the production side and right-sized the business as much as we could. However, you don't, as much as you can prepare, you certainly don't expect the demand to decrease as much as possible. We're in a situation now where many of our customers are still shut down, and if they're not, they're coming back very cautiously and very slowly. And so it's a very tricky thing to manage, and we're just kind of go day by day.
For sure, we will have a lot less copper in the market than we was expecting last year, and this is quite a complicated thing if we have any sustained recovery in the demand in China or outside of China. Everybody is expecting a big fiscal expansion in China, but it's still not announced. Just a few monetary policy. Maybe Dr. Buchner can have some points about it. But the big expansion in China eventually might come in terms of probably, I imagine, construction sector and infrastructure, because here is a critical thing about the jobs, and the jobs and the salaries are something that are definitely something critical. If you just reduce dividends and the corporations and you leave the people go and you have more employment and a lower salaries or no salaries at all, there will be no any recovery in the demand.
Yes, I expect that we will see a strong global consolidation process. We will see more investments coming from China to Europe, to the United States, and we expect also that some bigger North American companies will invest in Germany, will invest in Asia. At the end of the Corona crisis, we will see a strong consolidation process in the global metals industry, not only in the metals industry, in the automotive supply industry, as well as some other sectors. But let me say also some sentences concerning the banks. Jay told that he is in strong discussion with his banks that are doing all the banks at the moment. We meet our customers on a weekly to 2 weekly basis, and most banks have an interest that their customers have enough liquidity, and we are not interested to see some more insolvencies in the sector, and therefore we provide at the moment our clients mainly with liquidity, and we see this in Europe. Even that non-German banks, banks from Italy, from Great Britain, from France, do the similar strategy. And if they do not, we will see in the next year some more
Here's my point. I think the supply disruption is going to be it could well be resilient. The projects for now, the project restarts, yes, that's gonna be a delay, but the operating mines could be a lot more resilient than people expect because of currency devaluation, because of energy price deflation, because of potentially wage deflation even. So I think that's something to keep a very, very close eye on, and I think supply may well be a bit more resilient than people expect just because of how quickly this is going to move.